Hello everybody, my name is Sef and this is the last video in our East Voices series. And in this video we're thinking about communicating clearly, possibly with people who are, like me, deafened. When we're telling stories, we never know who in the audience is hearing well and who is not hearing, excuse me, so well. So I'm going to tell two little stories and I just want to introduce exactly what we're doing. I am a deafened storyteller, but I wasn't born deaf, and so signing, or BSL, is not something that I use. But I'm very aware of working with the BSL community and working with people who are deafened. But maybe you're not so aware. So this is going to help you, I hope, to try your hand at telling simple stories and to be aware of how you can be clearer in your storytelling. So, off we go. Just before we go, I want to mention two things that are very important. And those are the grammar of BSL, British Sign Language, and English grammar. For example, in English grammar, I say, "Where are you going?" But in BSL, you say, "Where you go." Very different grammar, but perfectly grammatical. But when you translate one to the other, it seems sometimes a bit odd. I say in English, "My name is Sef," but in BSL, you say, "Name me Sef." So if we're aware of these things, we can tell that people who use BSL and people who don't use BSL are speaking two different languages. So what can we do to overcome that? And I think the best way is to try to be as clear as you possibly can and to make sure that you're enunciating the words, being clear with your lips. When I became deafened, there was no help for me to learn BSL. In the country as a whole, there are only a few courses in lip reading, but we can all try to speak more clearly. And so I'm going to start with one of the stories. There was a farmer, and his farm was right at the crossroads, a road going that way and a road going this way. And he had been working all day. He was tired, and he leant on his gate, and he had a cigarette. Coming down the road was a traveller, and the traveller came up to the farmer and said, "Hey, there's a village down there, isn't there?" Yes. "Can you tell me, what are the people like in that village?" And the farmer thought, "Well, can you tell me, what are the people like in the village that you came from?" "Oh, they're horrible, miserable, unhelpful, unkind, not very nice people." And the farmer said, "Well, I think you'll find that the people in that village are just the same." And off the traveller walked to the next village. So the farmer had a few more minutes before he had to go back to work, and he was leaning once more on his gate, when another traveller walked along the road with exactly the same question and said, "Excuse me, can you tell me, what are the people like in the village down the road?" Once more the farmer said, "Well, can you tell me, what are the people like in the village where you came from?" Ah, they're really nice, kind, helpful, generous people, really nice people. And the farmer said, well, I think you'll find that the people in the village down the road are just the same. And here's another story. Now, this is a really old story from a very old tradition that originates in the Middle East. And there is an old character called Nasruddin, also known as Hodja. Well, Hodja, or Nasruddin, was sitting on the side of a river. The river was flowing, and he was sitting looking at the sky, looking at the leaves, looking at all the beautiful nature, and he was happy. He was old, and he was just having a nice time. The river was flowing, and he saw, coming on the other bank of the river, was a man. And the man stopped, looked over to Hodja Nasruddin, and said, "Excuse me, old man, how do I get to the other side?" And Nasruddin, he looked and he said, "But you're on the other side." And so that's another little story. Now you have two stories, and the thing for you to do is find your way of telling the stories as clearly as you can. You might have noticed that I was doing things like this. I was trying to be expressive. I wasn't using sign language, but I was trying to be expressive. Maybe you can be even more expressive. What does it matter? It's for you to try. You have two stories, and the task, I would say, is always be aware that when you're working with an audience of people, you never know who is able to hear and who is not able to hear. So it's always better to be as clear as you possibly can and to make sure that your lips and mouth are working clearly. I hope you have fun. Have a good time. Thank you very much. And thank you from East Voices. Thank you very much.